Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're diving into the world of hidden treasures as we explore the four most expensive and ultra-rare U.S. coins, including the Susan B. Anthony Silver Dollar, the Sacagawea Gold Dollar, and the Jefferson Nickel with a rare P-Mint mark. Even in dirty or worn condition, these seemingly ordinary coins could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars today. So before you spend that old coin, stick around, because you might just be holding a fortune in your hands. First up, when people hear the year 1929, their imagination immediately travels to one of the most dramatic turning points in American history. It was a year the roaring 20s collapsed into silence, the year fortunes disappeared overnight, and the year money itself became a symbol of fear, hope, and survival. Holding a 1929 United States dime is not just holding 10 cents of silver. It is holding a witness to the moment when America changed forever. This tiny coin passed through trembling hands during the Great Depression, when even a dime could mean food, warmth, or one more day of dignity. That emotional weight is what draws collectors toward this coin even today. The 1929 dime belongs to the Winged Liberty head series, often called a Mercury dime, because Liberty was a wing cap symbolizing freedom of thought. This design is widely considered one of the most beautiful ever struck by the U.S. Mint. The coin was made of 90% silver, giving it real metal value even before rarity is considered. In 1929, these dimes were struck at multiple mints, and each mint left its own invisible fingerprint on history through small mint marks that today decide whether a coin is common or highly desirable. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number of 1929 dimes, and these coins usually carry no mint mark. Because so many were made, most Philadelphia examples are not rare in circulated condition. However, when found in exceptionally preserved, original condition, untouched by cleaning or damage, they begin to rise sharply in value. A flawless surface, sharp wing details, and strong facial features can turn an ordinary dime into a serious collector piece worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on grade. The story becomes more intense when we move west of the Denver and San Francisco mints, where production numbers were lower. A 1929 D or 1929 S-dime instantly attracts more attention. These coins circulated heavily during desperate economic times, so finding one today with clean fields and strong details is genuinely difficult. That scarcity is real, not imagined, and it is why collectors compete fiercely for high-grade examples. While these coins are not worth millions in normal circumstances, certain top-grade certified examples have sold for prices that shock people who believe all old coins are pocket change. Many people become confused by stories of gold stickers, round holders, or miracle discoveries, so it is important to speak honestly. A 1929 dime was never struck in gold by the U.S. Mint, and any gold-colored piece is either plated after minting or a novelty item. A gold sticker on a holder does not increase the coin's value by itself. What truly matters is authenticity, originality, condition, and professional grading. Serious collectors trust certified grading services, not decorative packaging or dramatic claims. The real power of a 1929 dime lies in condition rarity, not fantasy prices. A worn coin that circulated during the Depression may be worth its silver content plus a small premium, but a coin that survived untouched, with blazing luster and razor-sharp detail, becomes something rare in the truest sense. Only a tiny fraction of the original mintage exists in such condition today. These are the coins that appear at major auctions, quietly changing hands for five-figure sums, sometimes more, depending on demand and eye appeal. There's also the mysterious world of errors and special strikes, which fuels many rumors. Genuine mint errors such as off-center strikes, wrong planchets, or dramatic die breaks can multiply value, but these are extremely rare and must be verified by experts. Many damaged coins are mistakenly believed to be errors, leading to disappointment. True error coins are valuable because they represent a moment when the minting process itself failed, creating something never meant to exist. What truly makes the 1929 dime powerful is not a promise of instant wealth, but its historical gravity. This coin lived through breadlines, bank failures, and the loss of faith in paper money. It survived because silver had trust when promises did not. That symbolism is why collectors and historians alike respect it. When someone holds a pristine 1929 dime, they are holding a survivor that escaped melting, circulation damage, and time itself. It is important to understand that no honest expert will tell you a normal 1929 dime will make you a billionaire overnight. Such claims damage trust and mislead new collectors. However, it is equally wrong to dismiss this coin as worthless. In the right condition, with the right mint mark verified and certified, it can absolutely be a life-changing discovery for an ordinary person. Knowledge is what separates treasure from pocket change. If you believe you own a 1929 dime that looks unusually sharp, clean, and original, the smartest move is patience. Do not clean it, do not polish it, and do not rush to sell it cheaply. Coins low. The year 1940 sits at a powerful turning point in American history, and the one-dime coin struck. That year quietly carries the weight of a nation standing on the edge of World War II. This coin is known as the Mercury dime, although Mercury is not actually shown on the coin. The design features Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought, progress, and speed. In 1940, the United States Mint was still producing these dimes in massive numbers for everyday use, meaning millions of Americans held them in their hands, spent them on coffee, newspapers, and train tickets, never imagining that decades later people around the world would carefully inspect the tiniest details of these small silver discs. The 1940 dime was struck in 3 different mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while Denver coins show a small D, and San Francisco coins show an S on the reverse near the bottom left of the fasces. Each mint produced huge quantities, especially Philadelphia, which means that from a rarity perspective, the year 1940 itself is not rare. This single fact alone destroys a popular internet myth that every 1940 dime is worth millions. Most 1940 dimes, even today, are common coins and trade close to their silver value unless something truly exceptional sets them apart. However, value in coin collecting is not built on year alone. Condition is the real king. A 1940 dime that circulated heavily, with worn details, smooth surfaces, and faded lines, is worth only a modest amount above silver content. But when you step into the world of uncirculated coins, the story begins to change dramatically. A perfectly preserved 1940 dime, one that never truly entered circulation, can show razor-sharp details in Liberty's hair, full separation of the wing lines, and strong horizontal bands across the fasces. These details matter deeply to serious collectors, and prices rise not because of hype, but because perfection is rare. Among collectors, one of the most talked about features is something called full bands. This term refers to the horizontal bands on the fasces being fully separated and sharply struck. Many Mercury dimes, including those from 1940, were struck with weak pressure, causing these bands to blend together. When a 1940 dime displays fully separated bands, especially in high mint state grades, it becomes dramatically more desirable, not because it is mythical, but because so few survive with that level of strike quality. These coins can reach thousands of dollars at auction, but not millions, and certainly not overnight billionaire levels. Now let us address the biggest misunderstanding circulating today: gold stickers, round holders, and miracle claims. Many people believe that if a 1940 dime is placed inside a round plastic holder with a gold-colored sticker, it automatically becomes worth millions. This is simply not true. Stickers and holders do not create value. Only recognized third-party grading services, strict condition standards, and real collector demand determine price. Unscrupulous sellers often use gold labels and dramatic language to trap uninformed buyers. A coin's worth lives in its metal, strike, preservation, and authenticity, not in shiny packaging. Historically speaking, the Mercury dime series holds a respected place in American coinage because it represents the final decades before modern coin designs took over. The 1940 issue reflects a mature phase of the design, where engraving quality was consistent, yet mass production reduced strike sharpness. This combination is exactly why high-grade survivors are rare today. Most were spent, worn down, and melted during later silver booms. The few that escaped untouched are now locked away in collections, rarely changing hands, quietly increasing in value over time, rather than exploding overnight. It is important to understand a hard truth that protects collectors from disappointment. No regular 1940 dime has ever sold for millions of dollars. Billionaire overnight stories belong to fantasy, not numismatics. The most expensive Mercury dimes ever sold come from different years with extreme rarity, such as 1916D, not 1940. What makes the 1940 dime special is not a miracle jackpot, but its role as a historical silver artifact and a condition-based collectible. Its power lies in steady appreciation, not sudden fortune. That said, a top-graded 1940S or 1940 D-dime with full bands, flawless surfaces, and original luster can still command impressive prices that surprise non-collectors. These coins represent perfection in a mass-produced era, and collectors will pay strongly for that perfection. The difference between a $10 coin and a $10,000 coin can be invisible to the untrained eye, resting in microscopic lines, strike depth, and untouched surfaces. The real lesson hidden inside the 1940 dime is education. Those who study coins deeply PR. The year 1935 sits quietly in American coin history, but the dime struck during this time carries a personality far larger than its small silver size. This was the heart of the Great Depression era, a time when every coin mattered, when silver dimes passed through hard-working hands every single day. The 1935 United States dime is officially known as a Mercury dime, though the figure on the front is actually Liberty wearing a wing cap, symbolizing freedom of thought. This design alone has made the coin legendary among collectors, and when people discover one today, the first reaction is often disbelief that something so small could carry such powerful historical weight. In 1935, the United States Mint produced dimes at 3 different locations: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a small D, and San Francisco with an S. Each mint tells a different story. Philadelphia produced the highest number, making those coins more common, while Denver and San Francisco struck fewer pieces, especially when survival in high condition is considered. What truly separates ordinary value from extraordinary value is not just a date, but the condition, strike quality, and originality of the coin after nearly 90 years of existence. The 1935 D Mercury dime holds a special place because Denver minted coins from this era often show weaker strikes, especially on Liberty's hair and the fasces on the reverse. When a sharply struck 1935 D dime appears with full detail and minimal wear, collectors take notice immediately. In circulated condition it may seem ordinary, but in near-perfect mint state, especially with strong bands on the fasces, its desirability increases dramatically. These coins do not become valuable overnight, but their worth grows steadily with demand and scarcity. The 1935 S Mercury dime is even more interesting to serious collectors. San Francisco coins are known for softer strikes and fewer survivors in pristine condition. Finding one with full detail, clean surfaces, and no damage is extremely difficult today. This is where values can rise significantly. A well-preserved example graded at the highest professional levels can reach into tens of thousands of dollars, not because of hype, but because so few exist in that state after decades of circulation and melting. Now comes a subject that creates excitement and confusion: gold stickers, round holders, and miracle stories of million-dollar dimes. It is important to understand this clearly. A genuine 1935 Mercury dime was struck in 90% silver, not gold. Any gold-colored appearance usually comes from plating, lighting, or third-party display holders. A gold sticker on a holder does not automatically mean extraordinary value. What truly matters is authentication and grading by respected services, not decoration or claims made by sellers trying to create urgency or fear of missing out. That said, there are rare situations where a 1935 dime becomes exceptionally valuable. These include major mint errors, such as off-metal strikes, dramatic misalignments, or die anomalies that can be proven authentic. Such coins are incredibly rare and usually already documented within elite numismatic circles. These are not coins that suddenly appear in pocket change. They are studied, certified, and fiercely competed for at major auctions. When people hear stories of million-dollar dimes, they are usually hearing exaggerated versions of these rare error cases. Condition is the true king of value. A 1935 dime that looks ordinary to the untrained eye could be worth very little, while another from the same year could be worth thousands simply because it avoided wear, cleaning, scratches, or damage. Original surfaces, natural toning, sharp detail, and professional grading create value. A coin that has been polished or altered, even if shiny, often loses most of its collector appeal. This is why experienced collectors warn people not to clean old coins, no matter how tempting it may be. The history behind the 1935 dime adds emotional value that money alone cannot measure. These coins witness bread lines, factory shifts, and a nation struggling toward recovery. They jingled in the pockets of workers' and soldiers' families, quietly surviving world-changing events. Owning one is like holding a fragment of American resilience. That emotional connection is what keeps collectors searching, trading, and preserving these small silver witnesses to history. So, can a 1935 dime make someone a billionaire overnight? The honest answer is no. But can it become a life-changing discovery if it is a rare mint, top condition, or authentic error? Yes, in the right circumstances, it can be extremely valuable. The real danger lies in selling too quickly without knowledge, or believing exaggerated promises without verification. True fortune in coin collecting comes from patience, education, and respect for history. The 1935 Mercury dime does not shout its power. It whispers it. In the year 1920, when the United States was standing at the edge of a new era after World War I, a small silver dime quietly entered circulation that today carries far more weight than its tiny size suggests. The 1920 United States dime belongs to the famous Mercury dime series, officially known as the Winged Liberty Head dime, a design that symbolized freedom of thought, speed, and hope for the future. At the time, this coin was simply everyday money, passed from hand to hand, dropped into pockets, spent on newspapers or coffee, and forgotten without a second thought. Yet a century later, certain examples of this very dime have transformed into legendary treasures, capable of changing lives in ways no one in 1920 could have imagined. What makes the 1920 dime truly powerful is not just its age, but the story written into its metal. These dimes were struck in 3 different mints, each leaving a small but crucial mark that now decides destiny. Coins struck in Philadelphia carry no mint mark. Those from Denver show a tiny D. And the rarest and most mysterious pieces came from San Francisco, marked with subtle S. While millions were produced overall, survival is a real battle, because silver was heavily melted during later decades, especially when silver prices rose. As a result, high-grade survivors are extremely scarce today, and scarcity is the fuel that turns a simple dime into a 5- or 6-figure prize. Collectors know that condition is where fortunes are born. A 1920 dime that looks worn, flat, and tired may only whisper history, but a sharply struck example with full detail speaks loudly in the auction room. When the bands on the fasces on the reverse are strong and complete, when Liberty's hair shows fine lines instead of blur, and when the surfaces glow with original silver luster, the value rises dramatically. Coins described as fine, extremely fine, or uncirculated live in a completely different world from ordinary pocket change. At the highest levels, these dimes are no longer coins. They are artifacts of perfection. Some collectors talk about gold stickers or round certification seals, and while the coin itself is silver, these symbols often refer to third-party grading holders that signal exceptional quality. When a top grading service places a premium approval sticker on a high-grade 1920 dime, it tells the market that this coin is not just good, but elite. These pieces are hunted aggressively by advanced collectors, registry competitors, and investors who understand that the finest known examples are limited forever. Once they are locked away in collections, they rarely return to the open market, and when they do, the prices can shock even experienced numismatists. Now comes the truth that separates fantasy from real opportunity. A 1920 dime will not make someone a billionaire overnight, but certain rare, perfectly preserved examples have sold for astonishing sums that feel unreal compared to their face value. A single dime once worth 10 cents can command tens of thousands of dollars, and in exceptional cases, far more, depending on mint mark, strike quality, and preservation. That transformation is the real magic of numismatics. Time, rarity, and human desire combining to rewrite value. The person who finds such a coin unknowingly and sells it cheaply gives away not just silver, but history and future potential. The history behind a 1920 dime adds emotional gravity to its value. These coins circulated during Prohibition, during social upheaval, during a time when America was redefining itself. They passed to the hands of factory workers, soldiers returning home, shopkeepers, and families struggling or thriving in the roaring 20s. Every surviving dime carries invisible fingerprints of that era. When collectors hold one today, especially a pristine example, they are not just holding metal. They are holding a frozen moment of American life. This is why experienced collectors always warn against rushing to sell. If you believe you possess a 1920 dime in unusually fine condition, especially with Denver or San Francisco mint mark, patience becomes your most valuable asset. Authentication, professional grading, and careful market timing can be the difference between a modest payout and a life-altering sum. Many historic coin fortunes were lost not because the coins were worthless, but because their owners did not understand what they truly held. In today's market, demand for classic silver coinage continues to grow as collectors seek tangible history in an uncertain world. Unlike paper assets, a rare dime cannot be printed again, duplicated, or digitally erased. Its supply is fixed, and its story grows stronger with each passing year. That is why the 1920 Mercury dime remains one of the most discussed and admired coins among serious collectors, a quiet reminder that extraordinary value sometimes hides in the smallest places. So if you ever come across the year 1928 sits quietly in American history, but in the world of coin collecting, especially dimes, it carries a mysterious pull that keeps collectors searching drawers, boxes, and old family collections late into the night. This was the era of the Mercury dime, officially called the Winged Liberty Head dime, a design that symbolized freedom of thought during a rapidly changing America. When people hear 1928 dime, many imagine overnight wealth, hidden treasure, or a coin capable of transforming fate itself. But the truth, when told correctly, is even more fascinating than exaggerated rumors. The 1928 Mercury dime was struck during a time when the United States Mint was balancing artistry with mass production. Millions were made, yet not all were equal. These dimes are produced at 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. Each mint left a subtle signature that today decides whether a coin is ordinary or deeply collectible. A tiny letter on the reverse, near the bottom, quietly determines its destiny in the collector market. Among them, the 1928 S dime holds the strongest emotional and financial pull. San Francisco produced fewer coins compared to Philadelphia, and many were heavily circulated during the Great Depression. Finding one today in sharp detail is like discovering a voice from the past that survived hardship. While circulated examples are common, high-grade survivors are scarce, and scarcity is where value begins to rise from myths, but from reality. Now let's address the most misunderstood topic: gold stickers, round holders, and fortune-hanging claims. A genuine 1928 dime was never struck in gold by the U.S. Mint. Any gold version is either plated after minting or part of a private novelty product. These coatings do not increase value and often reduce it in the eyes of serious collectors. Real wealth in coins comes from original surfaces, untouched metal, and honest wear, not shine added decades later. Condition is the true king. A 1928 dime worn smooth by time may carry history, but its value remains modest. However, a coin preserved in uncirculated or near-mint condition, with full details in Liberty's hair and strong horizontal bands on the fasces, can command serious attention. Coins professionally graded and authenticated without artificial enhancements are the ones that enter auctions and private collections at strong prices. Here is where fantasy and reality must be separated with care. No regular 1928 dime is worth millions of dollars. Claims of billion-dollar dimes are myths fueled by misinformation. However, this does not mean the coin lacks power. A top-grade 1928 S Mercury dime, perfectly preserved, can be worth thousands of dollars, and in rare cases, tens of thousands when condition, originality, and demand align. That kind of money may not change the world, but it can absolutely change a life. True, overnight fortune coins exist, but they come from extreme errors, unique test strikes, or legendary rarities, none of which have been confirmed for standard 1928 dimes. Collectors who become wealthy do so not by believing rumors, but by understanding nuanced marks, strike quality, originality, and historical context. What gives a 1928 dime its emotional power is not exaggerated price tags, but its survival story. These coins pass through hands during economic collapse, war recovery, and generational change. Each surviving example is a silent witness to American resilience. That connection is why collectors pursue them with such passion, and why demand never fully disappears. If you believe you own a 1928 dime that feels special, the smartest move is not to sell quickly, but also not to believe anyone promising miracles. Have it examined by a professional coin grader. Look closely at the mint mark, the sharpness of the details, and whether the surface is original. Knowledge protects fortune better than hope alone. In the end, the 1928 Mercury dime does not promise magic cut. It does reward patience, wisdom, and respect for history. It reminds us that real value grows quietly, not loudly, and that the most powerful treasures are those understood deeply, not rushed into the market under illusion. This coin may not make you a billionaire overnight, in the right condition, at the right time, in the right hands. It can still open a door you never expected. And sometimes that is how true fortune begins.